Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. I am Nick Park, and I was sharing over the last couple of days some Take 5s about Japan and about the situation in the prisons there, particularly the number of elderly people in women's prisons. Now, Japan also within its prison system has people who are living on death row because Japan still has the death penalty. Now, there's quite a lot of support, even though the death penalty has been abolished in most European countries, for example. In Japan, there's quite popular support. A poll about 6 years ago demonstrated that probably about 80% of the population support keeping the death penalty for the most serious cases. So there are actually, right now, about 107 people who are living on death row in Japan. And the way that the Japanese prison system runs death row is you can be on death row for years and you don't get much warning when you're actually going to be executed. You actually get an hour's warning. So just think about this. A prisoner is living on death row, and every day they wake up knowing that at 1 hour's notice they may be hauled off to be executed. Can you imagine going through every day, sometimes for years, and every day you've got this uncertainty. Every time you hear a noise, anytime somebody comes near the door of your cell, you're saying, is this the moment? Is this where they're going to come in and say, okay, you set your clock, 1 hour's time, we're going to execute you. Now, there was a case recently with a guy called Iwao Hakamada, and he was a former boxer. And he was actually convicted of killing a family of 4 people back in the late 1960s. Now, to give you an idea of just how long ago we're talking now, this guy, I was born in 1962. And a lot of people look at me like I'm an old man now. I'm 62 years old. I'm white-haired. Well, in the late 60s, I was just a kid. I was just starting primary school. But here, Iwao Hakamada, he was convicted of killing a family of 4 in the late 60s. He was sentenced to death, and then he remained on death row for, well, when his sentence was finally finalised, he remained on death row after his sentence was finalised for 45 years. Now just think about that, 45 years, every single day, waking up, saying, is today the day? In an hour's time, I could be dead. Now, 45 years on death row is a long time, but Iwao Hakamada is no longer on death row because just last year, he was acquitted. They discovered evidence that had been suppressed by the police. The police had basically fabricated, back in the 1960s, the police had fabricated key evidence against him, some crooked cops. And it was finally revealed, and this was discovered, and everyone realized he's actually not guilty of this crime. And so he's been released, but not in a good way. His mental state really been dreadfully affected, as you would imagine, spending 45 years knowing that at any moment he could get an hour's notice that he's going to die. Living with that uncertainty destroyed him as a man. And yet, all of us should live with an uncertainty about our life, because tomorrow is promised to nobody. All of us could face our Maker at any moment. We don't know. We assume we're going to live through today. We assume we're going to live through tomorrow. We assume we're going to live for years to come. We make plans and everything else. But we all know that that is not guaranteed to any of us. And therefore, we need to live in a way that we are prepared that if we die, and right now, that we go to be with Jesus Christ. That if we die now, if we're a Christian, we know we're saved. And we say, if I die today and I go to be with Jesus Christ, I've not left unfinished business. There's not stuff that are going to, that would really cause disaster for my loved ones and everything else because there was things I neglected to put in order or neglected to do right. So it is so important, if we were on death row and if we had that knowledge that the call could come an hour's notice at any time, we probably would set our affairs in order. And yet, even though we do live in uncertainty, It's not as in a dramatic way as the guy on death row, but we do live in uncertainty for what tomorrow holds. We need to make sure that we have committed our lives unto Jesus Christ and that we have prepared ourselves in such a way that will minimize the grief and the loss and the impact that would be caused by our passing. May God bless you today, and I pray that you will today know without a shadow of a doubt that if you were to pass into eternity today or tomorrow, that you'd go straight to be with Jesus Christ. God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.